Be, do, have. It's the framework that works. It's the framework that consistently shows up in my life. Have you guys heard of this before? Be, do, have. Be the person that can do the things, that can have the stuff. So Alex Hormozi, I love Alex, I love Leela, I love following their content. One of the things I disagree with Alex on is that his model is like, forget be, just do the things and have the stuff. The issue with that is that we all know somebody. How many of you have somebody in your family, or you know somebody that either won the lottery or they did really well and they lost it all? They lost it all, they ended up in jail, everything spiraled out of control. This can happen a lot, and I'm going to talk about why. So becoming is so critical, it's so critical, but it's also really challenging. Why is the process of becoming so challenging? I would encourage you to read the book by Peter Thiel, 0 to 1, and this kind of goes into a little bit of detail on this, but becoming is really the process of going from 0 to 1, and becoming is so challenging because it's essentially an identity crisis. You're going from being an employee to being a founder or a co-founder. You're going from whatever it is to not making any revenue to making revenue for the first time. It's a very different way of thinking about things. You have to pivot. You have to, a lot of CEOs or startup co-founders, they get stuck in the shiny object syndrome of like looking at everything. And that's because they get rewarded for coming up with ideas. They get funding for coming up with ideas. And then all of a sudden they keep repeating that over and over instead of working on what works and copying and pasting that, right? Leaving you guys with a thought on this. So many of the co-founders that I've worked with or the CEOs that I've coached, they get stuck wanting to do this, to always implement something new, something novel, something new, something whatever. And sometimes it's a good idea. I'm not saying it's always the wrong thing, but how many times, are Taylor Swift and Coldplay and 21 Pilots rewriting their whole set list? Like when you go to one of their shows, they're going to be playing crap from 10, 15 years ago. Like they don't rewrite it for every show that they record. They have a framework that works. They play the same songs forever, for years on tour, and then they maybe move to something new, right? And so the rate at which people are constantly changing through things can be problematic. So becoming is really challenging because it's basically an identity crisis. You're shedding this old version of you for something new. So why is becoming so important? So this is what I was touching on earlier with athletes and people that win the lottery or people that grow up in a wealthy family. A lot of times they can lose it all and end up worse because they haven't become the person that can do the things, that can have the stuff. They just have the stuff, or they can do some things and they can have some stuff. And so it's this process of becoming that once we miss out on it, you can't really repeat the cycle, or you haven't become the person that can have the responsibility of having that much money, right? So like a good example is athletes. Like thankfully now a lot of professional institutions are starting to instill some financial training stuff for professional athletes, and they're giving them a basis to stand on. But there's a lot of Olympians, speaking about with the Olympics going on, that do well for the couple of years they're in the Olympics, and then after that maybe they get a book deal, maybe they don't. But they basically, a lot of them are making like less than $50,000 a year. They're living on like really low wages compared to like the little spike that they had when they were in their 20s or whatever. And it's challenging. And I'm not saying they haven't become the person that can do the thing that gets the gold medal. I'm just saying they haven't become the person that can do the thing that has the financial success or the financial stability over a lifetime. So there are different ways of looking at it, but it's the same, for someone that wins the lottery, right? Like they don't know how to manage that level of money. Now all of a sudden it's come into their life, and it's like it gets spent very quickly on the dumbest things. And it can be the same for athletes. But I am glad that they're adding more programs to help these people and stabilize them. But be, do, have is the framework. It's a really important model. I think the gym is a good conduit to help people get this down into a routine, right? Because it's like becoming is changing your identity. The gym is a really good place to go and be like, I'm not someone that exercises, I am someone that exercises. It's something you might not want to do, but it helps you change your perspective on yourself. It helps you show up with consistency, and it could be a good place to start if you're starting a company. It could be a good place for you to have that mind shift. So be, do, have is the success framework that works. Myron Golden talks about this a lot. You can go learn more from him. But I hope this helps you. I hope this gives you some ideas on why becoming is so important and why it's so challenging. Again, I recommend the book 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel, really helpful on basically getting some ideas in terms of being an entrepreneur and going 0 to 1 and changing your identity. I hope this video helps, and I'll see you in the next one.